Okay, so Kraven the Hunter. This is from director J.C. Chandor. It is written by Richard Wenk, art Marcum and Matt Holloway. The film is produced by Jackson Kerr, David B. Householder, Danielle Hafferty, Avi Arad, and Matt Tolomosh. It's executive produced by Renee Robson, Zara Park, Elizabeth Niles, Art Marcum, Matt Holloway, and co-produced by Ben Grund. Music was handled by Evgeny Galperin, Sasha Galperin, and Benjamin Wolfschak. Ben Davis took care of cinematography. Editing duties are handled by Chris Lebenson, Zach Vanderlick, and Milos Dakovic. Nicola Chisholm, Raylene Sabo, and Mary Vernu took care of casting. Production design is Eve Stewart, Danielle Bayliss, Louise Carvey, Ludu Goulden, Patrick Harris, Meg Jones, Paul Lagia, Owen Mann, Darren McLaughlin, Heather Noble, Nacho Thomas, and Caton Waker are on art direction. Set decoration is Panko Chamorro, Kate Hefferman, and Michael Standish. Sammy Sheldon is costume design. And our cast. Right. Sergei Kravinoff is played by Aaron Taylor Johnson. That is aka Kraven the Hunter. Right. His brother Dmitri is played by Fred Henchinger. His dad, Nikolai, is played by Russell Crowe. Right, a younger version of Sergei is played by Levi Miller. A younger Dmitri is played by Billy Barrett. We've also got Alexei Sechevich, played by Alessandro Nivola. The Foreigner, played by Christopher Abbott. There's Calypso Ezili, played by Arena DeBoss. A younger version of Calypso is played by Diana Babnikova. We have Omar Ozadimir, played by Murat Seven. Who else is there? Bert, played by Tom Reed. Semyon Chernoy, played by Yuri Konoviv. That's probably our main group of people. I mean, there's a load of people, bad guys, and all of that jazz, right? Yeah. Oh, actually, is no, I'm looking for Calypso's. Calypso's mum and dad are played by Rachel Hanshaw and Odemigu Okoye. Craven's mother, played by Masha Vascanuva. They don't list Calypso's aunt for some reason. The gist of the story is this: Craven's complex relationship with his ruthless father, Nikolai Kravinoff, starts with a starts him down a path of vengeance and brutal consequences, motivating him to become not only the greatest hunter in the world, but also one of its most feared. So yeah, that is the gist of this story. Now we start things off with a prison move, right? Loads of people, they're being transported, get to the jail, high max, right? And then we see Aaron Taylor Johnson, right? And Kraven, right? We don't really get what's going on, but he's going to jail. We're like, oh, is this going to be how he becomes Kraven? We don't know any of this. And then we get this whole elaborate murder and breakout. But the thing with the very beginning, right, we're seeing a load of stuff happen, but you're just like, huh, okay, what's the power set? Like, what is this? What's going on? We then jump back 16 years, right? And we've got 2 kids. We learn that is Dmitri and Sergei, right? So, yeah, it's a younger version. Though the younger Sergei looks nothing like Aaron Taylor Johnson, right? So this transformation is kind of crazy. You're like, wait, what? You know, that's a little bizarre. But yeah, they're at school. They get told, oh, they've got to leave. Their dad's come for them. Mum's dead. You know what I mean? Neither of them like their dad. But he takes them on this hunting trip. Now, while they're on this hunting trip, we then see a young Calypso with her parents. And then we get bits with her and her aunt, who is this medicine woman type of thing. You know, Calypso's messing around with tarot cards. And we get these things and you're just like, wait, how is all of this connected? It just all feels very random. All feels very random. Right? And this all leads into how Sergei gets the powers. Right? But it's all just a bit like, what? And it's, you know, if the beginning feels disjointed, that doesn't bode well, right? For you as a viewer. You are scratching your head a bit. And the rest of the film is super disjointed. Right? When we get the introduction, well, we do meet the character a couple of times, right? But yeah, when we trying to remember, there's all these Russian names, man. It's very difficult. Alexei, right? When we meet, because we meet Alexei one time, and you do kind of feel the way it's, you know, they hold the scene and everything. You're like, I think we're seeing him again. So when we see him again, right, he's got this like little weird backpack on. It's all very odd. Right? Just everything's a little odd. Like the backpack is explained in a way. But then you're just thinking, a backpack? Like, yeah. You know, it's just like, okay. But he talks about his skin getting hard. Later in the film, we then get this whole different thing, which you're just like, wait, what? You know what I mean? It's odd, right? We don't really get motivations here, right? Because Calypso, why does she continue to help Sergei, right? We get that, right? She's a lawyer. She becomes this high-powered lawyer. Obviously, everyone is always the top of their game, or no one's just like average, you know? But she's this high-powered lawyer who seems to have connections all over the kazoo, right? And it's just like, wait, why would she have these connections? You know? It's all very weird. You know, the film doesn't flow that well. It does feel like we're missing parts. And it's already long. It feels long. So you're just like, what did they cut? Right? Well, like, what's changed here? Because it's all like, you know, we've got this character, the foreigner. A bit miffed. Because there's times when he has someone dead to rights. Like, he could kill them. And they don't stand a chance. But he does this whole countdown thing. Right? He removes his glasses, does this countdown thing. And you're just like, why? Like, why? Like, I would get it if he's in a bad situation. But most of the time, he's not. So it's just like, if you really want to show this power, put him in a scenario where it makes more sense, you know? This is just he's a weird villain, you know? Very weird villain, right? But we just got all of these different things going on, and you're just like, what is happening? Like, Dmitri is just kind of whiny, right? He's got this club. He plays the piano. It looks like he sings, but he can do loads of, you know, impersonations and voices. Now, if that's the case, right? If he can sound like Tony Bennett, Sinatra, and there's all these other people, why the fuck is his club not jammed? Right? It looks like hardly anyone is there. And even if you said, right, it's not open to the public, it's a members bar, right? It's exclusive. Still, if you had someone in there that could do all of these things, that place is going to be full. It's going to be full, you know? So it's just like, you have all of these things going on, and they're trying to be like, oh yeah, so these are the motivations for this character and this character, but it's very surface level, right? It doesn't feel like we're really getting under the bonnet of anyone. You know, it just feels like people are there because they have connections in the comic books, right? Calypso. So I didn't even know this shit. I did a little look. She is married to Kraven at some point, right? She's a villain. But we wouldn't get that from this. Like, you wouldn't understand that from this. You know, they throw in all of these connections to the Sinister Six, which Sinister Six was fun, right? If you watch the old Spider-Man cartoon, like, Sinister Six are in it a lot, right? And it's pretty good. So they lay down groundwork in a way for that, although there are bits where you're just like, that can't happen now, can it? You know what I mean? Like, but it all feels like it's just being done because it's just like, oh yeah, people will recognize this. People will know this. Oh, that's going to make people smile if we throw that in there, right? It doesn't ever really feel like it's needed for the story. It's like, I wanted, you know, I did want to like it, right? Because I enjoy the comics, right? Kraven is a good character in the comics. Like, he's appeared in Black Panther, and you know what I mean? Like, I know this character. So I'm like, I was curious to see how they would depict it. When you hear that it's going to be an 18, so you're like, okay, they're not going to water it down. Great stuff. But then you hear all of this other stuff, right? How it's a mess and everything. And, you know, it's going to be the last film in Sony's Spider-Man Superverse. And you're just like, oh, I mean, could it still be good? It could still be good. People could be overreacting. It's not good. It's a mess. It's a mess. I'm sure there's a story behind why it's such a mess. Right? There's J.C. Chandor. He's made some good, like, A Most Violent Year is very good. Triple Frontier, I ain't love it. But he's definitely got skills. So you do, like, scratch your head, like, wait, this is his film? You know? So I imagine there was some interference and some, you know, mandates coming down and all of this, because this film, it's all over the place. It's not cohesive. It feels like it's overly long. There was one shot that I thought was really good, right? We get this bit and we're in shadows, and then we see these glows, right? And you're like, oh, they're the eyes, right? And then Kraven steps out. And I thought, oh, that was done very well. That's a nice shot. Everything else, like the buffaloes and they look so CGI. They look crazy. It looks so fake, you know. And then all of this jumping building and just all of this is just like, it just looks messy. It looks messy, and there's so, like, a mountain is falling down and it avoids this person. You know, there's just a lot of that going on where it's just like, ooh, that's a lucky coincidence, isn't it? Come on, man. Come on. Like, this could have been good. Like, the acting is fine. Right? Nothing is exceptional on that ground, but it's all fine. You know, it's just the script could have been better. The story could have been tighter. It's just, there was just too much wrong. Too much wrong that this was just, or it looks like it was always going to be this terrible mess, which is just a damn shame. Now, I will say, people, if you enjoyed Morbius, if you enjoyed Madam Web, I even think if you really like the Venom films, I think you would like this, you know? But I just have issues with all of those things. I didn't like any of the Venom films, you know what I mean? But, you know, I might be wrong, but I feel you would enjoy Kraven. It's definitely not as good as any of the Spider-Man films. And when I say any of them, I'm not just talking about Tom Holland, I'm talking about Andrew Garfield, Tobey Maguire. It doesn't hold up to any of those. So I feel they're your barometers, people. You know? If you like any of the Sony Spider-Verse stuff, you might like this. But it is very much debated on that. It's in cinema. It will probably be on VODs soonish. So yeah, if you want to see Kraven the Hunter, you're probably going to have options very, very soon. You know what I mean? But yeah, people. Oh, it's a shame. Such a big shame. They do throw this bit in towards the end, towards at the very end, to kind of go, oh, this is what the sequel would be. But even that was just a bit wishy-washy. You know what I mean? But we're not going to get that sequel. Not anytime soon. I don't think they'll ever come back to it. I don't know. But yeah, Kraven the Hunter.